Hi guys, this is Renu, and today I'm going to present a topic on project management with GitHub. So, what I'm going to speak about here is how we effectively use the freely available tools on GitHub to manage a project effectively using agile Scrum methodologies. So, let's get started. The table of contents. What I'll be doing today is introduction on GitHub, then how we can use this, then some things called user story stars, spikes, and we're going to touch base on progressive web app, and we're going to show a small demo on how it looks like in action for one sprint, and then we're going to share. I'm going to share you some resources. So let's get started. First thing is, what is Git and GitHub? What is the difference? The difference is that Git is basically a distributed version control system used to track changes locally. And GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service for Git repositories that adds collaboration and management features. So let's try to understand this intuitively. What is version control system? Um, you imagine you're creating a file, a code file, or even a Word doc, and then you say you want to make some changes. You make some changes, and then you rename it as V2, then goes on V3, V4, V5. Then you kind of get confused which version has what changes in what version. And this confusion is solved by Git, where you have only one copy of file, but you can retrieve the previous copies and you can understand what changes you made by specifying messages. Okay, so that is a local version system. There are other things like it, which are version control system, but Git is the most popular and the most versatile tool. Whereas GitHub is basically whatever you have in local, you're pushing it to the cloud. Imagine a um, Google server or AWS server, uh, cloud-based hosting service. That's all. So it helps in managing your changes, your commits. You can do whatever you do on local Git online and helps to collaborate. This is how we work in big companies by collaborating with others using a tool like GitHub. There are other tools, Bitbucket, GitLab, things like that. GitHub is one of the most popular. It's run by Microsoft now. How can we use GitHub for project management? Yeah, I'm back. Um, so how can we use GitHub for project management? Um, so let's talk about the features which GitHub has. It has some features like centralized task tracking. So there's something called GitHub issues where you can um, just create. a thread detailing the issue. You can classify it as a bug, task, or a feature request, making it very easy to track. Okay. Um, let's talk about the next point, visual workflow management. So, if anyone has used Kanban style, it's basically um, again agile practice. Um, it's like a to-do list. It's like you have multiple columns having things to do, things in progress, things done. So as simple as that. That's a simple Kanban board. So GitHub Projects has this feature where you can organize things. This will give a clear overview to the team as to who's working on what, the leader on what tasks are pending, what tasks are in progress, tasks are done. Okay. Now, the next very useful feature is code reviews, which can be done on pull requests. So, um, so I'll talk more about pull requests in the later classes, but pull request is basically when I hope you understand how to make a Git commit. So once you make a commit locally, you push it to your cloud. Okay. And from once you push it, um, it's usually in a feature branch. You need to merge it into the main branch. So in order to merge your code with the code which your friend is working on, you create a pull request. Okay, that's how we collaborate. So um, when a pull request is created, you get an opportunity to review the other person's code and provide detailed comments, a review, so ensure code quality, ensure there's nothing affecting the other part of the project, make sure this functionality is working. So you have that particular that opportunity to do so. I'll show you in a while. And the next option we have is workflow automation using GitHub Actions. So GitHub Actions help you automatically deploy code, run tests. Um, there's something called CI/CD, which again you will be learning later in classes. So GitHub Actions helps you automate things. So you just push something, automatically it's deployed in the server. That's an example of workflow automation. So GitHub is hence a super powerful tool to help manage your project better. So now let's proceed. Um, so so I'll give you a snapshot on how you can get started quickly. So in order to create a project, create a new repository on GitHub. Um, I hope you understand what a repository is. It's basically like uh, file system, or it's basically like your folder where you'll be committing things. Now you create a repository and then you create a new project. And once you click on a new project, the window is intuitive. You can just select iterative development or Kanban, and then you will see GitHub project created with the new board. Okay. The next thing is creating a user story. Okay. Before that, let me come to this. Mm, sure. Okay. Uh, basically, you can come to your project sections, create a new project, select your template, and I would suggest your Kanban or iterative. This is the preferred thing. You can select this and create it. Okay. I've already created a project. I don't want to create another one. Mm, let's see this project. It's a sample project which I've created, and this is how the board looks. There is backlog, there is ready, or you can rename it as to do, call it to do, and this is in progress, in review, done. Now, now you will be having tasks here which can be moved to one of these statuses. Now, how do you work on this? So first thing is go to your repository and create some issues. So the easiest way to create issues is okay, this link. Okay, I'll take an old repository. Um, so yeah, you create an issue. So here we create something called as an issue on GitHub, and we're gonna call it a user story and assign few labels, assign the developer, assign the project, everything. So let's see. I just have one sample one just created. So what is a user story? User story is something um, like a feature request, or it's some kind of um, um, task which adds direct business value, or it is seen by the customer. Okay. Mm, I'll tell you some of the best ways to create a user story, but let's go through the process first. So, you're creating a new user story, just enter a title, and um, you're going to enter what the user story is. So there is a template in our slides. If you see, as a, let's say, customer, I want to purchase uh, an item so that I get it delivered to my house in a short duration of time, or I want to make a payment so that the purchase succeeds. Example, these are just examples of user stories. And acceptance criteria would be, let's say it's for related to payment. And payment should go through within 60 seconds. In case there is an error, you need to notify the agent with the transaction ID details, whether it went through, whether the bank is um, denied the transaction, things like that. So those are the acceptance criteria. Mostly it is software related, like you can tell. And acceptance criteria would be to uh, run successfully in 30 seconds, or uh, complete the payment transaction, um, things like that. Just a few examples. Your acceptance criteria will be based on this. I'll show you a proper user story. So this was for the project I worked on. As a user, I would generate a list of tasks. Um, I wish to have the flexibility to reprompt, regenerate the plan, or add all the tasks to my calendar on user approval or finalization. Okay. So it adds a value to the user, as you see. And acceptance criteria input field is disabled after task generation. User should have three buttons: reprompt, regenerate, approve. Reprompt should allow users to fresh start. So it's based on this particular user story. Okay. And each user story can have a few tasks, a few spikes. So uh, maybe I would be using a slightly advanced classification. To keep things simple, you can have a user story and a few spikes. Okay, so I'll explain what spikes are. User story is user facing, spikes are not user facing. Simple as that. And in this course, we're just going to talk about um, all the tasks which you have to do. Let's say setting up a database, researching which database is best. All these things are spikes. Um, so, so take a look at this. Here, I can assign a team member, and here I can set a label. So this is how you know it's a user story. Okay, you create labels, telling its user story, um, or spike, and you select that. And the project, you have status done, or to do backlog, all these things. Then you select the project, of course. Um, Here you will be able to select the project. Whichever project you want, you can select. Yeah, here as well. Yeah. So here the priority, how you prioritize it, size, estimate, which sprint it is. I would prefer using this particular milestone as sprint tab. So we ideally have three sprints, which means three milestones you have to complete. So this comes when you select the project type as iterative development. You select others, it may not come. So you can either use this one or this one. Okay. And yeah, make your user story as descriptive as possible. Add more details as possible. And um, this usually is a task of a product manager, but right now, all not right now. Even if you become a team lead, you will have to create a user story, and write features, acceptance criteria. Even if you're just a contributor, you will have to create at least a spike or a task telling what you're working on. Okay, so this is how you create a user story. Going back to the slide. So so what a user story is. So it's just to dive a little bit deeper on what user story is that the user stories must be non-technical and from the user's perspective. They must be independent and self-sufficient. They must be valuable, add a value to the project, the business use case. Should be negotiable. Should be it's not like a hard and fast contract which you have to do, cannot change. It's certain parts of the user story must be negotiable at least. Um, let's say I need 10 buttons in the user story. You say, I think 9 buttons will suffice the use case which we have. Can we do nice 9 buttons? Yes. Um, that's kind of negotiable. Then estimable. So it must be descriptive small, so you can estimate the work for it. Yeah, I told you about acceptance criteria and how to create a user story, signees, labels, status, priority, all these things which I showed you has to be set. And estimation, one of the most important thing, is you provide a quantified value um, on how big the task is and how much effort you need to complete it. So usually in the sprint planning or what you call the grooming session, um, the product manager or the team lead organizes this and asks opinions from team members because they're going to be doing this particular task on how much effort this task or this user story is going to take. Okay, so you're going to estimate only user stories, how much I mean, you can estimate other things, tasks and spikes as well, but all of them fall under the umbrella of a user story.
Card which we use. Um,
Hello. Okay, I think, okay, my audio is back again. The PaperCut app which you use has a progressive web application. So it has a mobile mode as well as a web mode. If you noticed when you try to use it on your phone, that's an example of a progressive web app. Um, so um, it works on a standard browser as well as a mobile app. So what are some features? App-like features, no app store are required. You don't have to give a cut to your, Apple or Google for putting it on the Play Store. And this PWAs have um, um, experience very similar to a native application and offline capabilities. This is one of the this is what we call PWA is. So one of the main features of PWA is offline capabilities. That is, their ability to work offline. Let's say you're on Gmail on your Chrome browser, you lose your internet, you can still open all your emails and check, just like how it'll work on your mobile app. And it's responsive and cross-platform. What is responsiveness? Um, it means the icons are responsive to a small screen and gives you a good user experience. To click on, basically, your screen is adjusted, your Windows, your website is adjusted to a smaller screen. So, which means the spacing, everything will differ. So it's called responsive design. That's PWA. So in case you're working on a web app, I would suggest you to make it a PWA. There are certain things which are needed to make it's not hard to convert a web app to a PWA. You just need to add some manifest files, service workers. You have PWA builders, which you can easily use to construct a PWA from a formal HTML, CSS, JavaScript website. Okay, that's all. Thank you.